I mean,
Mm.
the last time we spoke, you were teasing a fight at UFC Manchester, and now you've been there, you've done that round one submission. How did that feel, first and foremost?
Yeah, it was amazing. I can't lie. Manchester was it treated me very well. Manchester, the whole experience, the whole week was amazing. Never been Manchester before, like my whole life, never been there. So it was yeah, great experience. The whole week being with the UFC and the performance, it always goes. If you win, the whole experience is great. So yeah, I really enjoyed myself.
And it's exactly what you needed, Sam. Just get in there and get out. And Kiefer Crosby, quite a hard opponent to come up against. Not an easy matchup in the end. But what was the game plan going in? Was it always to take him to the floor and get him away quickly?
Yeah, my we most of our game plans focus on me and what I do, and if I can take you down, I'm going to submit anyone, and I believe so. With my ground game, I can submit anyone. So it's never I'm looking for the takedown, but if it presents itself, I'll take it. And yeah, Kiefer is a hard opponent. He comes to fight. He's short. He doesn't mind being in a brawl. So the game plan was just to stay long, keep picking him off, and then if the opportunity to take him down was there, I would take it. But 9 times out of 10, most times people try to take me down because they can't get close enough to me, or I start landing the good shots that force them to take me down. And that was no different with Kiefer. I landed a clean uppercut that forced him to come into my area, and then I took him down and finished the job. So, yeah, the game plan went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, you said he's short, and obviously you're quite tall for your weight class, Sam. Did that never come into play in your sort of in your camp, knowing that there was a significant height advantage there?
Yeah, but a lot of the guys, even when I was fighting the lightweight, a lot of the guys over in Brave when I was fighting there, a lot of the guys were a lot shorter than me. So it was no different really. I just had to keep my chin down, my hands up, because a lot of the times the overhand comes over. They're always swinging and they're always and he does that anyway, regardless of the height, if someone's the same height as him or not. So yeah, main thing was just keeping my chin down. Obviously, if my chin's in the air and he's swinging overhands, I could get hit. So yeah, that was one thing we did work on. But we've been working on that throughout my whole career, is keeping my chin down, because being a tall fighter, your chin's technically always in the air when you're fighting people shorter than you. But I think my performance showed the improvements I made even from January.
Mhm.
The commentary team were talking about my chin being in the air when I threw my jab, and this time they weren't saying anything about it. So I would say that's improvement.
Yeah, normally with me, I'm trying to avoid hitting the top of the door with my head, but for yourself, you're trying to avoid the bottom of your head being hit, mate. Talk to me
Yeah.
about, Manchester as a whole. Obviously, the UFC decided to stick to American times, which there was a bit of a mixed reaction towards it. How did you find training for a later fight than what would normally be 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 the case?
Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't that much different for me. I would say about 4 weeks out, there was a fight card put out, and I was like sixth or seventh on, and I was going to be on about one half one in the morning. So we changed my schedule. I was training at that time, probably about 3 weeks out, and then for a week I trained about 1 o'clock in the morning, started to adjust my schedule, and then I found out the fight card was I was third fight on. And it was like, I'm fighting at like 12 o'clock. Like I'm fighting, if I was a main event on a local show, it would be around 11, 12 o'clock. So it weren't much different for me. I went back to my normal schedule. And then just on fight day, I went and had a nap. I'm like the king of naps, to be honest. I'm good at having a nap. And that's what I done on fight day. I got up nice and early, went and had a shakeout. And then I made sure that I got back to the hotel, relaxed for a little bit, had a little nap. I ended up having 2 hours sleep. So it was lovely. And then I started my day around 5 o'clock and got to work.
Yeah, very good. Did you manage to catch any of the later fights after your fight? Obviously, we have Paddy the Baddy with a big win, Tom Aspinall with a win, Leon Edwards not quite getting there. Did you watch all of them or just the earlier ones?
Yeah, no, where was I? About 2 o'clock, about half two, I got back to the hotel after I've done my media and everything after the
Mm.
fight. So I went back to the hotel room. I was with my friends and my family, and we just sat and watched the fights. So I watched the whole main card, near enough, I would say. Yeah, I was most of the main card. And yeah, I sat and I'm a fan of the sport. I can't lie. If I wasn't fighting, I would have been watching the card anyway. So it was quite cool to watch it and go, I was in there earlier. Like it was so weird. Now it is watching events and going, yeah, I've actually fought in there. So it was pretty cool. And yeah, it's probably a better question to ask them guys on the main card, because I can imagine training and then fighting at 3 in the morning was a lot different compared to what I had to do when I was fighting at 12. So that question's better asked for them.
Mm. Obviously, Tom was very, very convincing in his victory over Blades, but Leon, I thought Leon was a bit disappointing. What did you think of his performance overall? Were you expecting that to happen?
No, I don't think anyone was,
Mm.
apart from Bilal and his team, if I'm honest. Leon is a sharpshooter. He is levels, like a high level athlete and champion. I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask him about the time. People are saying he looked tired in his performance, but that's a question you'd have to ask him. I don't know. Maybe Bilal come to fight. Maybe he just found his range, found his rhythm. I'm not sure. But that question would have to be asked to him. There's a lot of people speculating because it was a late one, and maybe it was because it was for him. I think he was fighting at like 6 in the morning. I was watching
Mm.
it.
There was fans falling
So
asleep in the stadium.
yeah, so you imagine Leon. I don't know what time he got to the arena. Had to stay up, and maybe like if you saw what Tom Aspinall done, but what if that didn't happen? He had to fight. Would he have been the same? You know what I mean? Because he finished it so quick, maybe he was feeling tired. You just don't know. But that, yeah, it's the gutting. I wanted Leon to win, obviously. I think he can. I think he beats Leon, beats Bilal,
Mm.
but it was just Bilal's night.
Yeah, I agree, mate. But I think he will be back, and I think he would win that rematch. You mentioned there briefly you were back in the hotel and you were looking at the screen, thinking it's mad that you were actually in there, a few fights before. And I actually saw something on your Instagram story. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and I think it was just after a couple of days or weeks or so after the fight, and it was something along the lines of just finished fighting in front of 22 plus thousand fans, and now I think it was a photo of you decorating something in the house or plastering some walls maybe. And that just got me thinking, it's really not all sunshine and rainbows with UFC fighters, is it?
No, like don't get me wrong. If I would have got that 100K bonus, I would have had someone else scraping my walls. A lot of people actually messaged me about that, and they were like, "Oh, you're back at work." No, no, I was working on me and my partner bought a flat, so we're renovating it at the moment, having to work on it, and she was killing it, doing all the work before the fight, so I could focus on the fight. As soon as that fight's done, she gave me the tools, and I had to get to work. So yeah, it was a bit like surreal, like going from 23,000 on the Saturday. So it just made me laugh. So I posted it because it made me laugh, thinking, like, it's crazy. Everything goes straight back to normal. My coach always says your milk costs the same as everyone else. Like, you go to the shop go on the Monday to the shop, the guy's going to still charge you the same as what he charges anyone else. So you're on like cloud nine on that Saturday, maybe for a couple days, but life goes back to reality. And I'm pretty like down to earth anyway. I don't really care about living a high life or flashy life, but yeah, that 100K, if I would have bagged one of them, I definitely would have got my little brother, or I would have employed someone to come do the scraping of the walls for me, because I did not want to do that.
Yeah, it really is a case of highs and lows, isn't it, Sam? Is that ever something that you struggled with in your career? The big massive build up to a fight, and then the event happens, and then there's just that kind of brief period after where it's kind of like a slump back to reality. Is that something that you find hard, or is it just a case of straight back into the gym and we go again?
Yeah, no, there is that little period. I wouldn't say back to reality, because I like going back to the gym. I like training. I
Mm.
like my life. Like, I love what I do. There's just this weird few weeks for me that I get a bit lost, where I spend 12 weeks with structure, routine. I'm very like, I've got all my like day planned out. I'm very structured, and I follow a good routine. So after the fight, I can go to the gym and train, but I don't have to. I haven't got a fight coming up. For those
Mm.
couple of weeks, you're kind of, and people go out and enjoy themselves, go on holiday and stuff. And I do get a bit lost then, to be honest. But it's nothing that I can't handle. I get back. That's why I go back to the gym. That's what I do. Like, everyone kind of, especially building up to a fight, sometimes you can't wait for it to be over. I enjoy the whole process, the whole way up to it, the fight. I probably hate the week or two after the most, where I'm kind of like, I can do whatever I want. I kind of don't like that in life. I like having a goal, structure and routine. So like getting up at this time and being here at that time. So after the fight, where I can go, I don't know if I can lay in bed. I'm not that guy. I just don't like doing it. So there is that brief period where you feel a bit like, I would say, lost. But just buying a property and having to renovate it has probably been a blessing in disguise, because I could go there every day and work on that. So yeah, each to their own. Everyone deals with it differently. I just like staying busy. That's why I get so better between fights, I believe, because I get straight back in the gym because I've got nothing else to do with my time. I love training. I love what I do. So Yeah.
And do you actually enjoy the fight itself, Sam? Because there's a reason I ask you this. I recently spoke to a guy on Octagon's promotion, although he's now left, Stuart Austin, who you might be aware of, and he was very open and honest with me about the fact that he is not. He's kind of lost his love for fighting, and it's not what it used to be for him. And he only says he only still does it because he was good at it, but he loves the coaching side, more. But would you say that, you love the overall package when it comes to actually being in the octagon in front of all those fans?
Yeah, I do. Like the pressure of it, the pressure sometimes can get to you, like in the fact, like some days you wake up like the pressure's a lot. But then I sit there and every time I have that thought, or it's very rarely I get that anymore because I truly love what I'm doing and I do love the fight. I think it's the anticipation of performing for me. Like I put so much work into preparing and performing that I'm more thinking about I just got to go out there. If I perform and do what I done like that Saturday night, I love every single second of it. But I think it's the thought of knowing, are you going to perform to your best? That's what kind of makes you think, want it to be over. But I've kind of learned to like enjoy every single bit of it. If I do everything I do in preparation, which I love, I just got to go out there and do like let my body do it and just flow and perform. And if I lose to a guy on the night, I lost to the better guy. So I take that pressure off myself of feeling like I think Michael Bisping said it actually. He said something about me. I put a lot of pressure on myself. He said it in the commentary. And it's true, I do, because I want to be the best athlete I can be. And sometimes that can get to you, but very rarely does it get to me. And the times it does, I kind of turn around and go, what else would I be doing? Like, this is life. I choose to do this. No one makes me do this. I could go get a normal job, work 9 to 5 if I wanted to. No one look at me, no one care, and I could carry on my life. Or I could do this. I choose to do this. No one forces me to do it. So I remind myself of that when it gets tough, when training camp gets hard. And that makes me realize that, no, I truly love this. And I think the day that I don't want to step in there and fight is probably the day I would give it up personally. I'm not saying that's for everyone, but personally, I would give it up. If I didn't want to be in there, it's not a safe place to be. Like if you don't want to be in there, it's not the safest place to be. You can go do something else, a lot easier with your life. So right now, I love what I do and I love every single second of it.
Yeah, very well said, Sam. How does it feel hearing the likes of Michael Bisping and other UFC commentators, DC, talking about yourself?
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm a fan really at the end of the day, as I have been for years. So it was even the fact of seeing them around in the hotel and stuff. It's kind of like you got to check yourself every now and then. You kind of remember who you are, like what you're doing, But no, it's good. And they're just being honest. Like if they see something I see, I don't take it personally. I don't take it to heart. If anything, I take it and I work on it. That's what I done in Toronto when I heard them saying about, oh, my chin's in the air with a jab. All right. Well, they're former champions. They know what they're looking at. So I went away and I worked on it. So you can take it personally and have an ego about fighting, but I don't. I don't with training. I train with anyone and I take anything from everyone. I take a bit from it. If I can learn something from anyone, I'm going to put it all in the basket and make myself better. So I just take it on as like positive criticism. If I was doing everything correct, I'd be world champion. Even world champions make mistakes, So as long as I'm learning, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, perfect, mate. And just lastly, you said you haven't got a fight coming up, but can we expect to see you again in the octagon this year?
I hope so, definitely. I'm like I have a couple of like nothing serious injuries that I can't handle over the next couple of weeks. Everyone sees the like 2.5 minutes in the cage and they go, jump straight back in, but it's the 12 weeks before. So I do like this little period after a fight to get better, improve. So the next time I step in there, I'm not the same guy I was on Saturday. I'm better. So, but definitely, I'm aiming to get out. I'm hoping for December because this year I fought in January. So I missed Christmas last year and New Year's with my family and everything. I missed it because I had to train through. So I'd like to fight December so I can enjoy Christmas and New Year's this year. But my management are in talks with the UFC and fingers crossed that all comes together. But definitely I want to be out one more time this year. I want 3 fights, hopefully 3 first round finishes.
Mate, that would be phenomenal. And just lastly, McGregor is meant to be fighting Chandler in December, but Dana White has come out this week in the Contender Series and said that McGregor won't be fighting in 2024. What do you think of Chandler? He's been getting a bit of a stick for saying that McGregor, we can move past the McGregor era, but then people are saying, well, hold on, you waited a couple of years to fight him. What do you think of Chandler taking the time out of the sport to wait for this specific fight with McGregor? And do you think that fight will ever happen?
I don't know. I think it's all on McGregor, really. Chandler wants the fight to happen. And if anyone else was in his position, they would have done the same thing. I just think now it's starting to like eat at him that 2 years out could be 3. You're like chasing saying it might not even be there now. But when he was doing it back a year ago, it shows how much time flies, because when he was doing it like 2 years ago, oh, it's worth waiting because it's the McGregor fight. It's worth the wait, worth waiting a year and a half. Now it's 2 years down the line. Now it's like time flies, and again, he isn't young, is he? So how long has he got left on the clock? And that's like, if McGregor does, he don't need to fight anymore. He's got so much money. He don't need to fight. So sometimes that hunger as well is scary. Like, when, of course, he wants to fight, but if you don't have to, there's a different kind of mentality you might have. Now I feel like Chandler's going to be like eating it, wishing that he didn't wait. But if it pays off and he gets the McGregor fight and gets the payday, he'll look back on these 2.5 years and go, it was worth it. But until it happens, we never know.
Yeah, and obviously UFC's back this weekend in Australia. Du Plessis, Adesanya, got your eye on that at all?
Yeah, I'll be watching the fights. Again, as a fan, I love it. Yeah. So I'll watch them all as a fan. I watch them twice. I watch it as a fan, and then I go back and watch them again, all the fights, and try to take things from it and learn from it and add it to my game. So I enjoy doing that. That's my weekends. But that fight, I'm never counting Du Plessis out again, because I could, like, when Sean Strickland beat Adesanya, didn't think that could happen. And then when Du Plessis beat Strickland in Toronto, when I was on the same card, I just didn't think it could happen. He doesn't have the most like technical style. Like, if you were to point out a technical striker, you get people to watch Adesanya, because he does everything like pinpoint. It's like so smooth. Du Plessis isn't, but that's what makes him who he is. That's what's made him a champion. He does what he does very well. And that sometimes is a harder style to deal with. I think Adesanya does very well against fighters that he can play chess against, and he puts them in positions and beats them. But Du Plessis is that kind of awkward character that you can't put him in a position, because he just bulldozes you and goes straight through it. So it's a great fight, to be honest. I do think it's going to be a great fight, and I look forward to sitting back and watching it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think it's a really, really good matchup, and I think they're both too good to go the whole way. I think someone will get knocked out, so I'm really looking forward to it. Sam, top man, I really appreciate you speaking to me today, and I wish you the best for whatever's to come. Hopefully we get to see you as soon as possible.
Yes, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you talking again.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.